Uh, Hello, viewers. I'm back to this program. The last one, it was interrupted by poor network, so I decided to call it and start it all over again. If you remember, a few days ago, I had a brief talk on restructuring Nigeria and the issue of Biafra. Unfortunately, it wasn't kept by Facebook. I wondered why, but I want to come back to some of the points I addressed in that regard. And I have to be frank. My wireless connection is not as strong as possible, but you do have to bear with me. And I want to talk about three key things briefly. But first of all, my name is Ukachukwu Okorie, editor AfricaWorld News, a Nigerian by birth, precisely Owerri in Imo State. We've seen the resurgence in the demand for the Republic of Biafra, and we've seen how it's reverberating around the world, and the agitation is coming up strongly, and there have been opposition to it, but majority of the people of old Eastern region are pushing for it. And not only that, the renewed agitation is bringing up demands and as in waking up many Nigerians who don't believe in Biafra, but they are fed up with the system. So I want to talk about three key things in this, and briefly. First, I'm going back to what I talked before in my last broadcast, which wasn't kept by Facebook, and that was about restructuring in Nigeria. I talked about the constitution, the 1999 constitution, but the constitution, when we talk about restructuring, because a lot of people are now saying we need to restructure the country, that's the southeast and south-south, as in the core area that's agitating for the Republic of Biafra, can have what they are looking for in a Nigerian federation. But brothers and sisters, watchers of the Nigerian polity and lovers of the country Nigeria, you know the history, you know what has been since I grew up as a boy. I've witnessed what has been happening in the country. We've been demanding for restructuring of the country, and we know a lot of ills in the country, and we've made enormous demands on restructuring the country, and you know the result we've been met with. It's not been easy. The elite has refused. Some people, part of Nigeria, especially in the core north, they believe that they are born to rule, that if they are not ruling, things will not go on well. So that is my argument against those who are going for restructuring. Can Nigeria be restructured? Will they allow restructuring of the country? So when you are saying restructure the country, how do we start? Will they allow restructuring? I mean, it has to start from the Constitution, the 1999 Constitution. Who constituted the Constitution? Was there any time Nigerians gathered to bring out that document? The first paragraph of the 1999 Constitution says a lot about it. It says a lot about Nigeria, because Nigeria is a country of liars, is a country of fraudulent activities, is a wicked country. It's a country that doesn't stand for truth. It's a country that cannot tell you to stand up, and when you stand up, it will give you what it wants. Look at the first paragraph of the Constitution. It said, "We, the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, having firmly and solemnly resolved to live in unity and harmony as one indivisible and indissoluble sovereign nation under God, dedicated to the promotion of inter-African solidarity, world peace, international cooperation and understanding, and to provide for a constitution for the purpose of promoting the good government and welfare of all persons in our country, on the principles of freedom, equality, and justice, and for the purpose of consolidating the unity of our people. I don't need to say much about that. You are Nigerians watching me. You know if it is true. If the country stands for equity or equality, does it stand for fairness? Is there welfare? Are there welfare programs for Nigerians? So when we are talking about restructuring, it boils down to the 1999 Constitution. That is the first port of call. The Constitution has to be set aside. We Nigerians, the Constitution, unfortunately, a decree promulgated the Constitution, Decree 24 of 1999 by General Abdul Salam Abubakar. And there was no time Nigerians sat down to constitute a constitution for the country. So it was a cock-up by a few military guys, and they imposed it on the entire nation. Go to the Constitution. If you haven't gone to the 1999 Constitution, just go to the Constitution. There are provisions of Sharia law and customary law. And in Nigeria, we have Christianity, we have Islam, we even have traditional religion. Okay, let us assume that, yes, the traditional religion adherents are carried along with customary laws. What about the Christians? There's no Christian law, but there's Sharia law. That's one. There's still many other things. The creation of states. Many states are not viable, but they are reaping from the coffers of the nation's treasury. There was this, in many states in the north, they banned certain products, but yet they still collect value-added tax proceeds from those products they banned that it mustn't circulate in their territory. Who is a Nigerian? Who considered the Constitution? So if we are arguing about restructuring Nigeria, it has to start from the Constitution. Nigerians must gather and bring up a Constitution for the entire country. If we're talking about restructuring the Constitution, we need to talk about the census. Do we have the right census? Are we really 160 or 180 million, whatever they say? How do we count Nigeria? Who must be counted? What are the structures, the mechanisms of doing the head counts in Nigeria? Census. What about electoral umpire, the INEC? You've seen a few days ago there was election in Lagos, local government election. But let us not go far from that. Although I have to give instance with that because it just happened a few days ago. We know how elections are run in Nigeria. People, there's enormous political apathy because anytime there's election, there's violence. People must lose their lives. Good Nigerians are scared of elections. People who have lots to contribute to the system cannot get involved because they are afraid to die. Even if they are not afraid to die, you see, if I assuming now I want to run for an election, I want to contribute to the development of my place and betterment of my people. My relative will start telling me, forget about it. Those who really have your welfare in their heart will start telling you, don't get involved in Nigerian election unless you want to die. So why? The good people are being sidelined. We're talking about election. The electoral laws, is it fine? Even if it's fine, is it implemented hook, line, and sinker? Just look at the elections, local government elections in Lagos State. Look at what happened. At least the social media is now affording us the privilege of getting privy informations. Most of us have now turned journalists. Look at what happened. There wasn't elections. It's been rigging from time immemorial in the country. So when we talk about restructuring the country, can Nigeria ever be restructured? Election is coming up in Anambra State on the November 18th. The APCs, it's not only APC, all political parties, 500,000 declaration of interest, 5 million naira to get the form for the elections. So what does that mean? And Nigerians are talking about restructuring. And I see people talk about the elections, that the elections must hold. So does it mean one cannot decide to serve his people? If you don't have the 5 million naira to get the form, you cannot run for the election. Why? And most of us live abroad. We've seen how things are being done. So running election is virtually for the elites. It's virtually for the rich. And there are many Nigerians who have the intentions of the country at heart. They cannot buy the form, they cannot contribute because they must share money, because they must provide 5 million naira to buy the form. Are Nigerians not using their senses? So when are we going to wake up? So when we talk about restructuring, there's a whole lot to talk about. Derivation formula. How are the resources of the country being shared? So, brothers and sisters, I believe that it will be difficult to restructure the country. And when we talk about the restructuring, remember, we've talked a lot about moving the country forward, and a section of the country doesn't want to sit down. Just recently, under the last regime, there was a conference, and every part of the country came and contributed, and at the end of the day, there was decisions, robust decisions that will move the country forward. Another government came in and took the decisions, the white paper, and threw it in the dustbin, forgetting about the billions that was spent. So you see the intentions of people who say they are patriotic Nigerians. Now it comes down to who is a patriotic Nigerian. And that's what I termed the shame of being a Nigerian, or shame of a nation. Patriotism. Now, I know you know about Michael West. You can go and dust Michael West, or let me go a bit up. Go to Oxford Dictionary and search for the word patriotism. Who is a patriotic Nigerian? That you are talking about, Nigerians should gather and talk like brothers and sisters. Since we say, okay, we are now a country, we are now a nation, you don't want to talk about the division of the country, you don't want to talk about Biafra. Let us sit down and talk on how to move the country forward. And people said that they are not going to see that they are born to rule. That if they are not ruling the country, things are not going to augur well. And some of my brothers and sisters are so daft that they still want to carry on without slave mentality. This is why I support the current agitation. If we have felt since I became an adult, even before I became an adult, as a teenager, I've been involved in issues about Nigeria. I started reading Nigerian newspapers at the age of 4 because my parents were civil servants. So I virtually know about the country. And not only that, I have researched and written a political history of Nigeria. Many of you know about my book, Nigeria Whips. I delved into research on the country. So I can talk authoritatively about Nigeria. So the country cannot move forward. The country cannot move. We cannot restructure the country because some people don't want to hear about restructuring the country because the status quo favors them. And unfortunately, some of my people are so daft, they are so stupid that they want to carry on with that mentality because they think they are getting crumbs. They think they are getting something. When they are getting little things, they now forget about the entire people, forgetting that even if you are rich and you have a mansion and all your mansion and your neighbors are poor, you are not safe. You are not safe. So we must always think about the majority of the people. What does it take to govern the people? What does it take to provide infrastructures? What does it pay? What does it take to circulate resources. Many of us are abroad here. You can imagine a small country like Ireland, a country of about 6 million people, to take care of a lot of foreigners. Many Nigerians, many of your brothers and sisters are in this country. They haven't worked for a day. They are driving the best cars. They are living in the best mansions, and the state is paying for them. Unfortunately, Ireland, neither has Ireland oil nor coal, but they run these welfare services by collecting taxes, by good management. We have a lot in Nigeria, but people are hungry. So the shame of being a Nigerian, patriotism. What defines patriotism? Are we talking about the embassies? The embassies, the Nigerian embassies scattered all around the world. For the past 5 months or more than that, can you imagine that Nigerian passport booklets are very scarce? They are not in circulation. Many Nigerians want to renew their passport. They don't have passport booklets. The embassies don't even have passport booklets. Go to Nigerian embassies around the world. You start crying. Many of the officials, they don't even care about the people. Nigerians are languishing in jails. Nigerians have problems. They are being deported from many countries. Only the name Nigeria is anathema. You even throw off. Go to airports across the world. Just the Nigerian passport makes immigration officials sick. That you are a Nigerian. That you are a Nigerian. It will be tough to get favors in certain quarters beyond our frontiers. We're talking about the shame of being a Nigerian. Deportations. There are hundreds of thousands of Nigerians in jails across the country, whether they committed crime or not. What are the embassy staff doing? They don't even care. You go to Nigerian embassies, they don't even care. They care less about taking care of the country. So why should you be proud as a Nigerian? Why should you be proud as a Nigerian? Common passport booklets. Nigeria doesn't have. It's been scarce for many months. And you tell me that I should be proud of being a Nigerian. At least in this country that I've been in for many years, this country spent millions of euro deporting Nigerians. All of us were privy to the information. When OBJ was in power, he was telling countries to bring back Nigerians, that the country is okay. The same Obasanjo, it's millions of dollars. He defrauded the country of millions of dollars from the money allocated to fix electricity. Anytime he's not in power, he will turn to be an activist, going about preaching on how Nigeria will be better. It's laughable. Do we talk about massive unemployment? Massive unemployment. Every year, millions graduate from our high institutions without job. Yes, Obumleke Ejimkonyo of Okafor wrote, the 1999 constitution should be thrown into trash can, and the 6th geopolitical zone should elect delegates that will make or write a new constitution for Nigeria. That is the first step to restructure. Yes, because the 1999 constitution wasn't written by Nigerians. It was written by Abdul Salam Abubakar and his lackeys. So why should it be we, the people of Nigeria? We, the people of Nigeria. So we shouldn't be talking about the 1999 Constitution. When we talk about restructure, we have to start from the Constitution. So do you think the powers that be will allow the Constitution to be revised or a new Constitution to come up? So when you are agitating for restructuring of the country, we must start from the Constitution. That is the #1 item. Then we know that people are serious. They are serious about keeping Nigeria, because they are not serious about keeping Nigeria. And that is why this agitation for the resuscitation of Biafra must continue. It must continue. Going back to the shame of being in Nigeria, I was talking about massive unemployment. Unemployment, look at, if there was employment, there won't be mammoth crowd agitating for a Biafra. Okay, let us set the issue of Biafra aside. The rest of Nigerians, are there jobs? Are there jobs? Look at the manufacturing sector. Look at the civil service. Small-scale entrepreneurs. Are they being supported? I mean, are there genuine policies to create jobs? Look at the state governments, the governors. They are now demigods. Are they creating jobs? They are involved in misplaced priorities. Very greedy and wicked governors. They only invest public funds in projects that will directly benefit them. You see them erecting nonsense projects that is meaningless for the people. Instead of them empowering the people, because when you empower the people will pay back. When people are happy, of course, they provide services for the state. If there's jobs for Nigerians, they will pay tax. They will be happy with the system and they will willingly contribute. This is a very simple arithmetic. For instance, if there's 24-hour electricity, forget about these stupid leaders. Nigerians will power the economy. Because they are very industrious people. They will power the economy on their own. You see a lot of people going back home. Nigerians at home will start inventions, creations. In a space of 10 years, steady electricity will just pour the economy. The shame of being Nigerian. Sufferings. People are suffering in the midst of plenty. Massive unemployment. You know the ills about getting a job in Nigeria. I don't need to talk about that. You can't even get a job in the country. And for you to get a job in the country, if you're a girl, you have to sleep around. Common Nollywood is happening. The directors, they are sleeping with the girls to give them roles. We know all those rubbish. Though we commend Nollywood, is a self-driven sector. But it shouldn't bring in all the wicked and ill activities of the bigger Nigerian into that small sector. Many of us are ashamed of being called Nigerians. Now, coming to the governors, we see what's happening. I see the way our youth do things, the way the governors run things. When I was growing up, I know that Nigeria have this territorial government, the federal government, the state government, and local government. Local government used to be very, very powerful. Why did this territorial government created? Especially the local government. The local government is nearer to the people. I remember when I was little, there was this man, this classmate of my dad at Trinity High School, Uguta, Eugene Obiamade. May his soul rest in peace. He was, he died. He used to be the local government chairman of Uguta. He's from Ejemekuru. Then I used to visit him. I saw certain things about local government development, because the essence of local government is for the local government to do some rural, get involved in rural developmental activities. Unfortunately, it is not so today. The governors are now demigods. They take with them all the allocations meant for the local government, and people go worshipping governors. Oh, look at Obiano, the governor of Anambra State. He just came in the other day. Who knew about Obiano? Today they are now they've amassed stupendous wealth that my friends and brothers and sisters are now gallivanting, shouting about the spirit character of the governor, and that the governor is this, the governor is that. Without the governor, nothing can happen. It's unfortunate that it has come to this, but we need to help our brothers and sisters wake up with their senses. What has the governors done? Not only Obiano. Go to Imo State, Rochas Okorocha. Rochas Okorocha has taken the states to be his private. He's running it like a fiefdom. His son-in-law was the commissioner. He's now the chief of staff. His wife is this. His in-laws is that. He has taken over the whole state. And he even wants to impose his in-law on the state. The same. It is the same in all other state governments. And young people will be killing themselves, shooting, because of these governors who are not interested in the entire people of the state. That is terrible. We must wake up from this slave mentality. If the politicians give you money, take the money, it belongs to you, eat it and do the right thing. The money belongs to you. Many of them, we know them before they became demigods. Who was Governor Obiano before he became a governor? He was just a bank executive, and P2B brought him in. Who was Rochas Okorocha before he became a governor? Rochas was a very cunning and celebrated fraudster who went to hide himself under the Red Cross, gallivanting from one party to another, taking the position of special advisor from one government to another, until the chance came up and he went to Abga and became a governor. And just like the person he is, he cross-carpeted. Today he's demigod. He cannot pay pensioners, telling old men and women to sign off 40% of what they worked for all their life in order to pay them. And my friends are out there worshipping him, taking crumbs from what is rightly theirs. So that is the shame of being in Nigeria. There are many things to talk about. Look at, we're talking about Nigeria. Buhari has been sick. It's not crime being sick, but they've been hiding it. They've been hiding it as if it is a crime to be sick. If Buhari is sick, we should know the truth and pray for him. It is not a crime being sick, but because there are ill intentions, that is why it is being hidden. We know the story of Yaradua. How did Yaradua die? Yaradua was taken to Saudi Arabia, and a cabal was running the system. Yaradua was lifted into the country. There was darkness at Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport. Everything was standstill because he was being brought in. If he didn't take the strength and the fearlessness of Dora Akonyele, would we have known what was happening? Though we knew, but Nigerians, like they are, they were afraid to talk. They were afraid to talk. They were licking asses until Dora Akonyele came up and said, no, enough is enough. Today, where is Dora Akonyele? All we heard that she died from strange illness or cancer or this or that. And if you investigate very well, she may have been poisoned. Brothers and sisters, we know Nigeria is a very dangerous country. Nigeria is a very wicked country. And that is why we must rise. We must rise. Because water and oil can never mix. It can never mix. It can never mix. Those who want to stay with the born to rule can pack their bag and baggages and go and stay with them. Go and stay with them. Then we reform what we want to reform. We will reform what is left. It's not about oil. If there's a way oil can be put in a jerry can and siphon, let us push the oil and tell the people that we can run a viable state without oil. We can run a viable state without that their sweet crude. It only takes human development. It only takes resourceful human beings and things will go normal. Buhari has been sick and he refused to resign. And most of you see what's happening in the developed world. Just come on losing the Brexit vote, the Brexit referendum. David Cameron had to resign. Or is it the first time or second time? Just vote of no confidence in many countries. And the leader resigns because he has lost the confidence of the parliament, because the members of the parliament were actually voted by the people. So you cannot just stay there and keep clapping at what is happening in Great Britain and the United States of America and other countries, and when it comes to your country, you chicken out. You behave otherwise. Buhari should throw in the towel. This is why I tell you that Nigeria cannot work. Nigeria can never work. It will never work. We know it will never work, but we are far from the truth. And that is why this agitation must go on. It must go on. Because we have been on our knees. We cannot perpetually be on our knees. Anybody who says that Nigeria is okay needs to be checked. You need to be checked. You cannot just say Nigeria is okay because you have a duplex in Sokoto, or because you have a property in Lagos, or because you and your family are okay, then every other person should go to hell. No, it cannot happen. Even if it matters killing our own people to make sure that the future is okay for everybody, we have to do that, because we are thinking of the generality of the people. Nigerians must be okay. If they don't want to be okay, then we that have decided that it is time to call a spade, we will say that enough for Nigeria. It is nunc dimittis. To your tents, O Israel. And when we talk about the international politics, there was a statement by the German ambassador. Germany has no right to tell us on how to run our affairs. I mean, many of us have now gotten education, so we shouldn't be daft. We know international laws. We know things that have been happening around the world. We've been reading books. From history, we've known how nations are built and how agitations can come to fix the system. We know that Nigeria is not okay. There's no need pretending. The country is not okay. A country whereby a 70-year-old man will be riding Okada. A country whereby a girl who went to the university and had the best of results have to sleep her way to getting a job is not okay. The country whereby our mothers are dying because they're just giving birth, it is not okay. A country whereby people are suffering, a country whereby you have to lick asses, you have to bow and genuflect to a non-entity to feed your family, it is not okay. A country whereby someone will take the joint admissions and matriculation board examinations, and out of 400 scores, one person will get 300 or 250, and he plans to read law or medicine. He will not get admission when he had 250 over 100, and another person who will have 50 over 400 will get that admission. That country has problem. The country is not okay. A country that cannot vouch for their people, a country that doesn't have the interest of their people at heart, forgetting about the maxim that says that salus populi et suprema lex, that the welfare of the people remains the supreme law. A country that doesn't care about its people, it is not a country. Even if your people are criminals, even if they are languishing in detentions abroad, a country that its embassy staff cannot visit prisons of the country that they are administering, it is not okay. A country that cannot provide passport booklets, common passport booklets for its citizens across the world for over 5 months, my brother, it is a banana country. And when the likes of Nnamdi Kanu and IPOB say Nigeria is a zoo, people start criticizing them. I mean, forget about the young man. Think about his message. What is he saying? I only trust God, yes. But what is the message? Check in your deepest part, the crust of your heart. If the message is right, then you have to join this agitation. I talked about the German ambassador who said that they believe in the territorial integrity of the country. Who loves Nigeria more? Does the German ambassador love our country more than us? No. But because we are tired of what is happening. We are tired of what is happening. I said it before, that the issue of Biafra is not a matter of idealism. It is not a matter of, oh, we want a country that can walk in the moon, a country that can build buildings or housing estates in heaven. It's not a matter of idealism. The issue of Biafra was born out of the failure of leadership. And leadership is not rocket science. It is not rocket science. It's about putting the right policies. Because the cash is there, the money is there. But when people are greedy, money that is meant for 1 million to 10 million people, one person will eat it. Then tell me what is all about. And there's artificial scarcity. They had millions of dollars from a flat. What happened to the money? Where is the money? We saw the pictures. Where has the money gone? We're talking about what about corruption? Corruption. Yes, Jonathan was weak and he allowed people around to eat money, but he still had good intentions. Okay, we're talking about corruption. Did it start from Jonathan's era? From the era of Gowon to the first missionary journey of Obasanjo when he was military ruler, there has been massive corruption. Even when Buhari was petroleum minister, there was massive corruption. From the time of Shagari to when Buhari came as a military leader, there was corruption. Have you forgotten Omar Odiko? Have you forgotten the crates when he was kidnapped and stopped and rescued at Heathrow. We know these things. Nigerians know these things, but they don't want to say the truth. So we're talking about the international aspect of this agitation. Germany has nothing to do with our internal affairs. It is we, Nigerians, who will sit down and decide on the future of the country. If some people said they want to go, it is not a crime. They have their reasons, because the country have refused to restructure. The country have refused to restructure. The country have refused to carry its citizens along. Marriage is not by force. If I said I am tired or I'm tired in my marriage, I have to walk out. You cannot, because there won't be love there. If there's no love, the marriage or relationship cannot continue. You and I know. It is when we sit down, we'll discuss whatever comes out of our discussion. We inform the international community. I said it yesterday that Scotland is going for their second referendum. Scotland is going for their second referendum. They are presently proposing to hold a second referendum on Scottish independence from the United Kingdom. We know that their first referendum was held in September. In September 2014, and 55% voted against it. But remember, they still put a clause that whereby UK leaves the EU, they have a right to second referendum. And that is what they are going for. Because UK voted in the Brexit. They said they're no longer part of the EU. So Scotland has the local standing for second referendum, which they have begun talks of it. So if Scotland can go for a second referendum, why can't Biafrans have their first? What is good for the goose is equally good for the gander. David Cameron cannot resign just by mere losing Brexit votes. Just resign by mere losing from the Brexit referendum, and they will advise us to stay in this construction called Nigeria. No, the world has moved on. We are more educated now to speak on our rights, and we love to be international players. We have a lot to offer to the international community. Should Nigeria be talking against Biafra? Is Nigeria not supporting Palestinian liberation? Nigeria is supporting Palestine. Buhari even talked about Palestinian independence recently in the United Nations. Is Nigeria not talking about Western Sahara, which Morocco annexed? So what is good for the goose is equally good for the gander. So if Nigeria is supporting Palestine, if Nigeria can go to the United Nations and stand up to talk about Palestinian independence, autonomy, and living side by side with Israel, Biafra has a right. Biafra has a right to have its referendum. Biafra even have a right to sit down in the United Nations. So we need to think about these things. For want of time, I'm going to end this. But this agitation must continue. If politicians give you money, take the money. It belongs to you. Eat it and do what you want to do. It is your money. If Willie Ukachukwu Okorie gives you money, eat the money and do what is right. Do what is right. What we are interested is that the resources circulate to our people. Our people must rise from their knees. We must remove that slave thinking cap. The money belongs to us. It is our commonwealth. So stop gallivanting or genuflecting or bowing for unnecessary things. All these resources belongs to us. You shouldn't go and start worshiping a governor because he's giving you 100,000, or because he's giving you 1 million, or because he's giving you 10 million. I want you to start thinking of the future. The country we have found ourselves. The countries we have found ourselves in, they're okay because their ancestors, their fathers fought for them. The island I live in 1916, a group of the renegades, as they were called then, went to seize the center of the country, a symbol of authority, the GPO. Though they were later killed, but it now metamorphosed to conscientizing the people on the need to be effectively liberated. Today, they are reaping from that. Today, Ireland takes care of not only its citizens, they are taking care of foreigners, including your brothers and sisters who are in this country. Like I said before, many haven't even worked before. They are in this country enjoying the fruits of some people's labor. So you have to fight today so that your children will enjoy the fruit of your labor. If you don't do that, shame belongs to you. Thank you. My name is Ukachukwu Okorie. I am from Owerri.